order. Would everyone please stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I'd like to welcome Chip Kyle to the going to be a member replacing Mark Jacob. People are moving so fast that I can't remember their names.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, can we have roll call?
Counselor Hartranft.
Here.
Counselor Conley.
Here.
Counselor Lockwood. Here. Counselor Kyle.
Here.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Here. Okay, under announcements and communications, the census return in Volney have reached 67%, the highest town reported in the county. If you haven't sent yours in, please make it a priority. It is estimated that the county lost $2,200 annually for every household that isn't in our town. Yeah, this affects our town revenues also. And it got a little thing here Barb made out for me to read. You know, about 1/3 of the Oswego County households didn't return questionnaires in the 1997 census. When an area is undercounted, state and federal funds for all vital programs are directed to other areas that have a higher priority rate. The Oswego didn't return their census forms by May. It's estimated that the county lost $2,200 annually for every household that isn't counted in the census. Over 10 years, that adds up to $22,000. This is a significant amount of money that is redirected to other areas of the state and the nation where more people participated in the census. So it is very important, if you haven't turned it in, to do so. You know? And I think since this report, I've seen one now that we're up around 70% have been returned.
And I do have forms in my office if somebody's lost theirs or didn't get one, or knows somebody that didn't get one, whatever. And they can just come and pick it up.
Okay, April 1st, the law went into effect to impose a $30 surcharge in addition to any other sentence, fine, or penalties for violations of the handicap parking. Okay, free dancing will be held April 26th at 7 p.m. The town offices will be closed Good Friday, April 21st. Okay, we'll go into committee reports. The assessor? Kevin.
David Gray is, I believe he's in school. Is that correct, Dennis?
That's, I believe, yes, he's in.
And he left this report for us to read. One, the informal hearings are completed. We had approximately 320 parcels to review during the informal hearings, which were held by Dave Roach and David Gray. The 320 parcels represents approximately 10% of the total number of parcels within the town. A typical response due to revaluation averages around 8 to 12%. The town of Volney's informal hearings fell within the average range. 2, all veterans within the town were notified by mail to check on the status of their exemption due to the change of level. The notice briefly explained different options the veterans would benefit the most from. We had many calls and persons come into the office responding to this notice. 3, the state ORPS, which I believe is Office of Real Property Services, will be printing the notice of assessment changes within 7 to 10 days. Once the notices have been printed, our office will be mailing them out. 4, the county will be printing the tentative 2000 assessment roll, which will be on file by May 1st, 2000.
Okay, building inspector?
I got it. For the month of March, for permits, there was 2 single-family homes, 1 manufactured home, 1 commercial permit, 3 accessory buildings, 1 septic system, and 2 swimming pools for a total of 10. Revenue was $1,125. Inspections for new construction, there was 10. Fire safety, 4. zoning 37 for a total of 51, and violation notices issued, zoning 1, building code 2 for a total of 3, and certificates of occupancy issued was 6.
Dog control. For the month of March, there was a total of 65 calls received. There was 5 number of dogs housed at the kennel this month. 1 dog at the kennel tonight, I guess, at this meeting. 2 total number of dogs adopted, 2 total number of dogs redeemed, 2 number of dogs euthanized, 2 dogs reported lost. There are no dog bites, and he traveled a total of 276 miles. And it's got written here, floors still need painting. I've had someone there to check that out. I'm waiting for a price on the painting. Highway.
Expenses for March 2000. Light maintenance, $32,654.32. Payroll, $21,241.02. For a total of $53,895.34. Via reimbursed from the county for plowing, $4,767.13. Payroll hours as follows: 611.3 machinery repair, 352.6 plowing and sanding, 118 on drainage and culvert work, 182 on winter cleanup, 168 hours on buildings and grounds, 28 hours on signs and guide rail work, 32 hours on hauling, for a total of 1,489.9 hours. For the month of March, we used 293 gallons of gas, 1,528.1 gallons of diesel fuel.
Okay, there'll be no report from the historian because she's been ill. She called me tonight and she said she wouldn't be able to make it, or she hasn't been doing anything either because she hasn't been feeling well.
Okay.
Planning?
The planning board opened its April 5th meeting by welcoming the newest member, Tommy Venetia. The minutes were reviewed and passed as written. And on the agenda was a request from Pat Furlong for a subdivision on State Route 3. The request was granted with the understanding that the project coordinator, that if there was any further development in this area, it would become a major subdivision and would have to be treated as such. And Mr. Gick was not present to answer his request for a subdivision, so no determination was made. And then the members were reminded about the Tug Hill seminar at Jefferson Community College, which was today, actually. And having no further business, the meeting was adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Shirley Finch. Can people hear me? Okay, because I know I've heard people say they can't hear, so I'm going to try to yell in this thing.
Okay. The solid waste?
I'll do that too. There isn't a whole lot to report that we really, has anything to do with us. But there is, Volney submits 4 names to the legislature chairman, and he appoints 2 out of the 4 to be on the board of solid waste. We only have 1 person serving on it at present, which is Jim Ridgway. So if anybody is interested in serving on the board, they can give their names to me or any board member or any council person, and we'll submit it to the solid waste board. Okay? I don't know exactly what this means, but it's called host community benefits. March Lichtenstein explained that he has not forgotten the issue of host community benefits for the town of Volney, and he will pursue this. And I put a question mark there because I don't really understand what that means.
We've discussed off and on over the years about the idea that since we're the ones that are hosting these facilities, that may, in a lot of people's minds, they're not the most attractive things in the world to have in your township, that the township should derive some type of benefit from the fact that we're hosting it.
Right.
And I think that's what they're talking about.
That's what I was wondering, but yeah, I didn't clear that up, so. And then the last thing is, Tom Brown gave Lichtenstein a copy of the study done by the EPA stating that there are more toxins in a burn barrel of a family of 4 than generated at the ERF. I don't know where that study came from or whatever, but that's what they reported. And the legislation addressing burn barrels would be very difficult to enforce, so particularly in the rural areas in Oswego County. But that's just one thing I thought would be interesting to know, that the burn barrels, so they say, have more toxins in them than the plant up there. So.
Zoning? Do we have no report in?
Michelle's not here? Oh.
I was at the meeting. There was just a couple issues that came up at the meeting that maybe we might want to look at. One of the things is, Barb, is Jennifer leaving the minutes with you? Or is she emailing them? Or
Jennifer faxes them to me.
Okay, because there was some comment that some people didn't get minutes or something like that.
I haven't received any in a while. But
Okay, all right.
she's usually really very good about getting them to me, but
And then we would get a copy of the minutes as well, correct?
I make up 15 of them. I give each board one, Danny one, and I keep one on file.
Okay. I'll mention it too. The other issue that they had, that was a new piece that came up that was interesting, that probably we're going to have to address, is there was an applicant who wants to open, was thinking about purchasing one of a mobile ice cream unit. It's kind of like what Shannon has over on the lake, a Shannon hot dog type thing, except it would sell ice cream and soft drinks. She lives over on Crescent Drive, which is across from the Fulton Speedway, probably about halfway between the end of the road where it hits Route 57 and where the Pathfinder Fish and Game Club is, right next to the Storings property. And she was asking about the possibility of operating this ice cream / fountain drink mobile unit on that property when she doesn't take it down to various weekend events. And the board was wrestling with that. And unfortunately, our zoning laws, as they saw it, don't address it at all. I mean, we've never experienced something like that. Is there a license? Where is it permitted? So that's something that they're wrestling with now, and it might be something that we may have to look at as a board later on in the future. That was the only new piece of business that they were contending with.
Old business. I have a letter here from Senator Wright. It's Dear Mr. Lockwood, thank you for your recent letter expressing concern with the new license renewal process implemented by New York State Motor Vehicle Department. I share the same concern that you raised in your letter and have attempted to address this procedure since it was first proposed by the governor last year. Unfortunately, all efforts to revise this decision have been unsuccessful to date. Unfortunately, they were determined to make this change, and it was done administratively by Mr. Richard Jackson, Commissioner of New York State Department of Motor Vehicles. I have continued to oppose this change, but feel that it will not be reversed in the near future. While the policy may remain in place, nothing prevents individuals from continuing to use the local DMV office. In fact, I would encourage you to do so. Please be assured that I support the use of the local DMV offices when processing renewals. While other efforts were unsuccessful at the state level, our continued use of these offices will assist in their preservation. And that's signed Jim Wright, State Senator.
One other piece is reports are still coming in on the water survey, and the largest percentage are in favor of the town exploring the possibility of water and sewer. That's a survey that was sent out to certain segments of the township. I would assume maybe by the next meeting, we're going to have some final numbers, you think, or?
Yeah, we got a meeting on the 18th, which will be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday night.
And That will be our first Citizens Advisory Committee meeting.
New business. Any petitions tonight? Okay, we'll go into our resolutions.
Resolution 2000-75, approval of minutes. Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of March 9th, 2000, having been previously distributed to the board without reading them. I move it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye. Did you forget one?
He has to abstain. You abstain, right? Okay. The motion is carried, 4-0.
Resolution 2000-76, payment of vouchers. Move to authorize the supervisor to instruct the bookkeeper to pay the following vouchers from the appropriate funds. Vouchers 72 through 114, general fund, in the amount of $18,676.94. Vouchers 52 through 77, highway fund, in the amount of $32,654.32. And vouchers 7 through 14, Seneca Hills Sewer and Water, in the amount of $156,098.65, as shown on abstract number 4.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried, 4-0.
Resolution 2000-77, accept appointment of town board member. Move to accept the appointment of Kelvin Chip Kyo until 12/31/2000 as a member of the Volney Town Board to fill the vacancy left by the resignation of Mark Jaquin. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried, 4-0.
Resolution 2078, accept resignation of assessor's clerk. Move to accept the resignation of Barb Foster as the assessor's clerk. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried, 5-0.
Resolution 2079, appoint assessor's clerk. Move to appoint Bonnie Gainey as assessor's clerk and paid by a set salary.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Shuffle it.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried, 5-0.
And Resolution 2000-80, accept resignation of Code Enforcement Officer's clerk. Move to accept the resignation of Allison Graham as clerk for the Code Enforcement Officer. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried, 5-0.
Resolution 2081, appoint Code Enforcement Officer's clerk. Move to appoint Bonnie Gainey as Code Enforcement Officer's clerk and paid a set salary.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2000-82, appointment of planning board member. Move to appoint Don Ryan as a planning board member to complete the term of Walter Howard, term to expire 12/31/2002. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Just like make a brief comment before we vote on this. As people in the audience can see, about half the resolutions we've dealt with so far tonight involve people either resigning or being appointed to various positions in the town. There has been some turnover. I mentioned it in a letter to the editor. With the people we have coming aboard, I'd just like to comment that neither Don nor Chip had any previous involvement with the town, but in both cases, I think they bring a certain amount of skills and experience that's going to make them very valuable as both board members and planning board members. We've had a couple candidates. We had another candidate for the town board position that was also very well qualified. We're looking for good people, and we need people to come aboard and offer themselves and maybe give something back to the town that a lot of us were brought up in. These two individuals, I think, are going to be a real step towards broadening the base of participation in the township, which is something that I consider to be very important. And once we get this vote, I certainly welcome them aboard. But I want to encourage people in the audience and people at home or who are watching this to consider assisting the town somewhat. It's taken up some time on my part, but I found it fulfilling for the most part. And it's nice to think that you can make a contribution to an area that I know I've spent the last 30 years, and I love this area. And if there's anything I can do to kind of help keep it this way, I think it's time well worth spending. And I hope there's other people in the audience who feel the same way, because we can use the help. That's all I have to say.
That's it?
That's it.
Counselor Hartman?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried 5-0.
We want to maybe have Don stand up for a minute. He's right over there.
Yeah. Resolution 2000-83, accept the State Controller's Report of Examination. Move to accept the State Controller's Report of Examination on the physical affairs of the town of Volney. Now, if anybody read this morning's paper, maybe there would be some comment on that.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartman?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2000-84, accept mowing bid. Move to accept Allscape's sealed proposal for lawn maintenance for the town park, town hall, dog kennel, and the cemeteries on County Route 6 and State Route 3 for the 2000 season at a total season price of $1,850. Allscape from Fulton, New York, was the only bid submitted.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartman? Right?
Aye.
Thank you. Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
The motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2085, authorized payment of Highway's new 2000 International truck. Move to authorize the supervisor to instruct the bookkeeper to pay $121,161 for the Highway's new 2000 International truck, plow and sander purchased on state bid from Leota Automotive Services in Fulton, New York.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft.
Aye.
Counselor Conley.
And notice we stick the rookie with the biggest money transfer of the night. Aye.
Gotta get him trained. Counselor, now you confuse me. Counselor Lockwood.
Aye.
Counselor Kyle.
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood. Dennis.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Sorry, good job.
I'm knocking them all out of sync tonight, see? Resolution 2000-86, agreement to spend town highway funds. Move that pursuant to the provisions of Section 284 of the Highway Law, we agree that monies levied and collected for the repair and improvement of highways and received from the state for the repair and improvement of highways shall be expended as follows. General repairs, $366,493, may be expanded upon 63.03 miles of town highways, including sluices, culverts, and bridges having a span of less than 5 feet, and boardwalks or the renewals thereof. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft.
Aye.
Counselor Conley.
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood.
Aye.
Counselor Kyle.
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2000-87, fee set for home occupations. Move to set a 2-year fee of $20 for home occupations, whereas the town of Volney does not currently require a fee or registration for home occupations, and whereas it is becoming increasingly evident that many home occupations are currently in the town of Volney and more are expected in the near future, and whereas the code enforcement officer in town of Volney needs to regulate these home occupations, and whereas the code enforcement officer and the town board has set the deadline of August 1st, year 2000, for existing home occupation operators to register with the code enforcement officer without paying a fee. Thereafter, after the August 1st, 2000 deadline, any new home occupation operator or existing home occupation operator who has not registered with the code enforcement officer will be charged a 2-year $20 fee.
I'll second it.
Yes.
So this being a new fee in town, should you have a public hearing? I know our regulations say that town board can raise the existing fees, but this being a new fee being instituted, should you have a public hearing on it first?
I think this was put into effect back when we did the update on the zoning, and there was never a price tag put on it. The fee was in there, but there was never a price tag put on it.
Okay, I'll second it.
Did you explain why we're doing
I'll
it?
second. I did.
The reason we're doing this is because we looked at the town and we had a lot of home occupations, and Kevin even brought it up the other night at the meeting that seems to be the trend is with a small business, and some of them start out very small, they outgrow the garage or outgrow things and they move on. What we've tried to do with this in our zoning update, we passed, made a home occupation to clarify the conditions. You know, you couldn't have a nursing home. There's a whole bunch of, I can't remember what they are right now, but there was a whole listed on what you could have as what is considered a home occupation and what isn't. And we thought about this, and we're just really trying to come up with something to protect the people out there, that if someone wants to come into your neighborhood or lives in your neighborhood and they want to start a business in their garage, right now they basically can. You may end up having to go to court to force them. I mean, you could be building engines, you could have any number of things. So by doing this, it's not really to stop anybody from doing it. What it is, if someone comes in and says, I'm going to open up a knitting, sewing business in my garage or in my house, and they want to advertise for it, And what that does is when they get the permit, if there's ever a question, we have the permit or the registration that says that's what it's for. And we know there are some things, somebody could be building race engines, someone could be having a kennel. So what this does is supposed to clarify it so that we have it on record, and if there's any problems in the future with it, or if there's a dispute of what the intent was, we have something to go back with. That's what all it is.
One of the biggest issues that zoning board members, particularly the zoning board of appeals, faces is people coming for variances, use variances. And the problem arises when a complaint is filed, and usually what it involves is a person who originally put in a home occupation years ago, were successful for, which is a good thing, but then they expanded and expanded and expanded to the point where, in essence, it's no longer a home occupation. Like he said, it might be, a guy might originally say, well, I'm going to fix cars in my spare time in my garage. Well, okay, as long as, it's in your garage, it's okay, but over a period of years, next thing you know, there's 2, 3, 4 cars outside the garage, a couple out back, and then the neighbors complain, and then he gets cited, he comes for a variance, he goes to the variance board and says, gee, I've operated for all these years, why are you guys picking on me now? Well, the problem is that maybe, first of all, they shouldn't have gotten a home occupation in the first place, because to be honest with you, car repair shop would be a real tough call on a home occupation. But secondly, there was no monitoring going on until somebody complained. So what hopefully this is going to accomplish, the only reason for the $20 is to kind of offset the cost that once every couple of years, Danny would maybe take a ride down there and take a picture or observe it to ensure that basically it's still, in essence, in compliance. And what we're looking upon as a town board is when Danny makes one of these visits, about, well, how much does it cost every time he has to go out into one of these places? Because really, hopefully some of these can be offsetting. So we thought that this one, maybe that would encourage, it's low enough that it's not meant to be a problem with anybody. It's not meant to stop anybody from operating a home occupation. That's allowed anywhere in the town. But we do believe, as you said, it's the fastest growing business around. There needs to be some kind of monitoring going on, because there have been a lot of cases where people have been upset because when the neighbor first came in and said they were going to do something, it was not a problem, but over the years, all of a sudden it becomes a big problem. And once it becomes a big problem, it's really hard to stop. It's very hard to tell somebody who has an operating business, gee, you're out of compliance, you can't do that. The best bet is maybe as time goes on, they be aware of what the limitations are and try to stay within those limitations. And that's what this is intended to accomplish.
I believe that Dan the other night explained that the change had already taken place in the zoning law. It's just that the board never acted on setting any type of fee.
Yes.
Can I get a copy of the new zoning laws?
Yep.
Okay.
We're in the process of
Being
doing
reprinted, so they're not completely reprinted yet.
They're not. When they're done, can I get a copy?
In fact, Jennifer was at the meeting last night. She says she's got a rough copy pretty much done. In fact, I mentioned to her that there might be a little addition to it. So she says she's just about done with it.
That's why she put it on disc, so she couldn't change it. So, because it's on Word.
Did you get that seconded?
It has been
Yes, Linda
seconded.
did.
I did.
Yeah, you were ready.
Ready? Okay. Counselor Hartranft?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood?
Aye.
Counselor Kyle?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2088, proclamation of Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month. Whereas the purpose of Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Month is to advocate and support programs and strategies that prevent adolescent pregnancy in the town of Volney, and whereas teenage pregnancy significantly affects the health, economical, and educational future of teenagers and annual cost our town of each child bearing, and whereas teenage mothers often seek parental care late, if at all, and therefore frequently suffer higher than average levels of toxemia, anemia, and puerperal traumas, with their babies often premature and or low birth rates. And whereas the town of Volney is committed to involving churches, businesses, media, parents, agencies, educational institutes, policymakers, and health providers in helping prevent teenage pregnancy. And now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Dennis Lockwood, Supervisor of the town of Volney, do hereby proclaim May 2000 a Teenage Pregnancy Prevention Month in the town of Volney and command this observance to our citizens.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft.
Aye.
Counselor Conley.
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood.
Aye.
Counselor Kyle.
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Resolution 2000-89, change bill signing and agenda preparation night. Move to change the meeting night of the workshop where the bills are signed and the regular town board meeting agenda is prepared from the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 to the first Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Counselor Hartranft.
Aye.
Counselor Conley.
Aye.
Counselor Lockwood.
Aye.
Counselor Kyle.
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Motion is carried 5-0.
Okay, public comments. Yes.
I am a lifetime member for the Pathfinders Fish and Game Club, and I was at their meeting on Wednesday night. I mentioned this a few times about that Crescent Drive. Is that county or is it town? The Crescent Drive. There's a north end that's very dark that hooks on Route 57, and I have suggested that we should have some kind of one of those pole lights, this state pole light or some kind of a light up there so people can find that driveway, because it's very dark at night, especially raining. And they seem to think it's nothing that they can do, and I'm wondering if it has anything to do with Volney.
Well, Crescent Drive is one of our roads. Isn't it?
Property, is it town road or?
It's town road. The county controls the intersection. The stop sign is there,
What
so
I'm asking is who would be responsible to be able to ask to have a light put on that? There's a pole right on the corner.
If it's just a street light,
There'd be a price for it too.
Petition.
just petition your neighbors and you probably could have one up there.
I didn't understand what you're saying.
Just get a petition from the neighbors
Get a
that are
petition?
living in that area.
Well,
If they want it up there, we can put one up there.
There's only one or two people, neighbors in Longley's garage, and they probably don't have any concern with it.
Well, possibly your fellow members on the Fish and Game Club, if you could possibly get a petition, because they're the ones that are actually using the road pretty frequently.
Petition through the club.
That would be one way.
It would be best if you had the, even if it was only the two neighbors on that intersection. I mean, if they didn't want it on their intersection, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't want it, but if they didn't want it, well, then we would run into a problem with it, you know?
So I will bring that up at their next meeting and see what we can get done over it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hmm?
Make sure you get the neighbors,
Names.
the neighbors to sign it also.
The neighbors.
Yeah.
The ones right at that intersection.
Okay.
You know, there are people maybe don't want a street light right over there. I don't know how close their house is to the road or anything, really, but if they don't mind, and I don't see a problem with it.
That'd be my comment. If anybody doesn't know where it is and they're going too fast, they miss the intersection, and they run right into the house at the right-hand side. If they're turning from traveling south or turning left, and if they didn't make the corner right, they would hit that house. But they gotta be going slow enough. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Future meetings are May 3rd, 2000, the planning board is at 7 p.m. May 9th will be our next bill signing agenda. Is this going to be a right one, Don?
Pardon me? Not now.
It'll be the 4th, right? May 4th will be our next bill sending agenda. It's 7 o'clock. The next zoning board is May 10th at 7 p.m. And our next town board meeting will be May 11th at 7 p.m.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Heard it.
Well, before we go, I just want to say thank you for the warm welcome. I'd like to thank Dennis and the board for giving me the opportunity. And I see some familiar faces out there, and I look forward to meeting a lot more people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one, we'll have to put a notice in the paper on the change on,
I got it written already. Be a little note. Mr. Hartrath,
Aye.
Mr. Conley,
aye.
Mr. Lockwood,
Aye.
Mr. Kyle,
Aye.
and Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.